Chargers at Kansas City. Chargers were 4.5 on Sunday night. We liked it then. They moved to 4 at Bet365. They're at 3.5 at a lot of other books. I think we still take the Chargers at plus 3.5, and that's sort of the line in the sand.
Yeah, obviously we both love the way more 4.5 because this game is going to come down to the very end. The way they've always played each other, it's always very tight and comes down to the last possession. And the fear here is something you kind of nailed last week that I underrated a little bit, that J.K. Dobbins was, a difference maker for that Chargers team. Like he really was. You saw last week that was by far the worst Chargers game of the season against an Atlanta defense is not that good. Certainly not on the level of this Kansas City team. You expect this Kansas City team to bounce back after their worst defensive performance of the year, in my opinion, in back-to-back weeks, right? They struggled against Carolina. They just struggled against the Raiders. It's like, I can't believe it. It's like, this is not the Spags defense we're used to, especially at this point in December. So this is really me and you trusting the numbers and the fact that this Chiefs team just plays games close, especially these Chargers games where it's like, even when they were much better than this Chargers team, Herbert would always find a way to keep it close and lose always in the last possession. I mean, he always loses somehow on the last possession against this Chiefs team. So I don't know if they'll be in our money line round robin, the Chargers, but at 4, 3.5, I'm with you, Chad. I would take still the Chargers at that number. This line should just be 3. We're getting good value here. We'll see if the books keep shifting it because, we both knew Sunday night this was going to be a heavy public side and professional side, this Chargers team. Everyone was watching that Black Friday's game, and they're totally off this Chiefs team. I mean, it's just a week of the pundits saying, Lions, too many injuries. They're done for the season. This is the banged-up, bad Chiefs team. They're not the same Chiefs team as last year, even though at this exact point, this Chiefs team last year was even worse. It's just a week of everyone's shitting on this Chiefs team. So that's kind of the fear, right, Chad? It's like, at what point does public perception overrate and adjust too much on this Chiefs team? I don't think they have yet at this point. Like we just said, this number should be 3. It's 4. Go grab the 4.
A lot of injuries for this Chargers team, not just J.K. Dobbins. I think that is a big deal. They do not have an effective running back on the roster right now. And their only receiving threat is Ladd McConkey. So a lot of challenges for them. I actually worry more about their injuries than I do about the Lions, because the Lions have, I think, more offensive firepower, whereas and the cluster of injuries for the Lions as comps, because both teams have a lot of injuries, is on defense, whereas the Chargers have a cluster of injuries, but at key positions in the defensive backfield, along the defensive line, in the offensive backfield, different spots. So it's to me, it's not a guarantee that we want to take the Chargers. Last game on the board.